Hey guys, it's Olive, and I'm here today to do a video on my top bookish pet peeves. These are things that bother me or annoy me about things about books or relating to books, not specifically dealing with content. At a later date, I might do a video about things within books that bother me, but for now, this is just about outward stuff. I have 9 things in total. I wanted to make it an even 10, but I tend to be a pretty agreeable person. I had to dig deep to think about the things that really annoy me. The first one, however, did not take long to come to mind. That is the Deckle Edge. I am not saying that the Deckle Edge is not pretty. It's beautiful to look at. However, when it comes to reading, it really gets in the way. Some of the pages are longer than others. Some of them are cut normally, and some of them have the textured edge. That means turning the page is really difficult. While we're at it, I don't like French flaps either. This poor copy of The Gollum and the Ginny is just gonna get talked crap on, apparently. The French flaps, once again, are very pretty, but they get in my way when I'm trying to read. I am a practical kind of girl. Anything that gets in the way of getting this content into my brain keeps me from turning a page, causes me an inconvenience during my reading experience, and it's gonna piss me off. My second pet peeve is reading with a dust jacket on. The only time I can read a book with a dust jacket on is if it's from the library and has the protective covering on the outside of it, because they tape the dust jacket to the book itself. I am just completely unable to read when there is a dust jacket on. I do not know how people do it. I have to take it off, which annoys me because it feels like it's part of the book. Like they fall off, they're floppy, they get in the way, like they're coming off. I just don't like to read with it on, but it feels naked without it. Thus, the only time I like to read a hardcover is when it is from the library and it's attached to the book. I also particularly like the hardbacks that are now dust jacketless and they just have all of the information of the title author imprinted onto the hardcover itself. I think they're beautiful. I think it's really practical. I really like those. I wish I owned some, but so far no books that I'm interested in have come out in that format. Speaking of hardbacks, I also hate that hardbacks come out before paperbacks. Now this isn't the case for all books. Some books do come out in paperback first and only, but most of the time when a book comes out brand new, it comes out in hardcover. And then you have to wait a period of time. It could be a small amount of time, could be a long amount of time before the paperback comes out. Not only is a paperback cheaper, I find paperbacks much easier to read. I just prefer reading paperbacks, and I don't particularly want to wait until the paperback comes out to read a new release if I'm really excited about it. So if I want to support the author and buy it and have it in my possession, I'm forced to buy the hardcover. But then later on, if I want to reread it, I would much rather read the paperback. So it's almost like I'm being forced to buy a book twice. The next pet peeve is mass market paperbacks. No. I just hate reading mass market paperbacks. My next pet peeve deals with the marketing of books. I hate when publishers say something like, readers of The Night Circus will love this book, and then you go to read it and there is nothing similar besides maybe a circus. For example, they did this with The Magician's Lie by Greer McAllister. They compared it to both The Night Circus and Water for Elephants, so I was very interested in it. I put it on hold for my library. I read it earlier this year. It was nothing at all like The Night Circus. I couldn't believe that they had compared it to it, and they obviously did it for people like myself who enjoyed that book and were just hoping to pull in an audience that way. I think it's really dishonest. I just really don't like it. If the book really is reminiscent of that book, then draw comparisons. Otherwise, just market the book on its value alone. Sixth pet peeve, the fact that it seems like every historical fiction book ever is set during World War II. I feel like the market is saturated with books set during World War II. I realize that there can still be really great books set in World War II that come out. All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Dower just won the Pulitzer. I've heard it's fantastic, and I'm sure it is. But personally, when I'm going book shopping or at a used book sale, if I pick up a book and I look at the back cover or inside at the inside of the dust jacket and I see that the description says it's set during World War II, my first instinct is to put it back down because I feel like it's been done. I've personally read a lot of books that take place during World War II, slightly after World War II, and they've been great. But I would like to see some other historical periods really get some attention. For example, Empress Elizabeth of Russia. Can we get a novel about her, please? She was amazing. She had such a great personality. She was the daughter of Peter the Great. Certainly a great story can be told about her. Maybe I'll just write it. Number 7 is something that my husband and I joke about all the time. And this is when micro histories, which is a nonfiction book that really zooms in on one particular thing, let's say like salt or coffee, and just does a whole history on that specific thing. It seems like in the titles of all of these micro histories, or at least a very big percentage of them, within the title is the phrase, change the world. It's almost like the writer or the publisher is not confident enough in the book for you to see the value in it, so they have to tell you that this specific thing changed the world. You need to care about it because it changed the world. Just for example, there is a list on Goodreads of pretty much all the micro histories that are out right now, and users are able to vote on them. You've seen Goodreads lists. I'm going to go down and list some of the things to you that say they changed the world. Here we go. Cod, a biography of the fish that changed the world. Banana, the fate of the fruit that changed the world. Tea, the drink that changed the world. Mauve, how one man invented a color that changed the world. Oh, little variation. Uranium, war, energy, and the rock that shaped the world. Okay, listen, I know you want to tell me that the subject of your book is important. However, I think it's really funny when they say, a banana changed the world. Really, how much different would our world be if bananas did not exist? You can technically say that anything changed the world. For example, your existence in the world has changed the world because it would be different if you didn't exist. But all of us and everything changes the world because we exist within it. I see how tea could have an impact to change the world because of the commerce and the trade that inspired. I obviously see how uranium changed the world. But the color mauve, how on earth did that change the world? And that is not a question that makes me want to read the book. That is a question of why on earth would you think that the color mauve changed the world? And thus I'm not going to read your book. There have to be better titles out there. Just get a little creative, please. I'm asking nicely. The next 2 deal with books on Russia. I have a lot of them, and so I have some opinions on them. The first thing that bothers me is people pronouncing Russian names, and that's just because I speak some Russian and I know better. I would absolutely be pronouncing them wrong if I didn't know better. But for example, the way you pronounce the man who wrote Lolita, it's Vladimir Nabokov. I hear all different kinds of pronunciations of this, and they just rub me the wrong way because I learned a lot about Nabokov when I was in Russia, so it's very important to me that it's pronounced correctly. Also, it's Dostoevsky. Also, it really bothers me that we can't call him Lev Tolstoy, it's Leo Tolstoy. We can have Lev Grossman and Lev everybody else, we have to call him Leo. I don't understand why that's anglicized. Also, I really don't like when all the books dealing with Russia ever have red covers. I get that Russians like red, but is this really necessary? As you can see, it's not just the books that deal with the revolution. All of them are red. There are other colors, use them. So those are some of my bookish pet peeves. I would love to know what yours are. Please leave them in the comments below. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @abookolive, and the link to my Goodreads is down below as well. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye.